George Osborne charm offensive, but changing partners or price will be very difficult.
I think effectively what it means is that the deal in its current form is dead in the water. I think the only reason for a review can be one of two factors. First, that the government don't like the price that is being asked. Second, that they don't like the involvement of the Chinese in the way that's suggested. I think it's going to be very difficult to renegotiate either of those.
Once again, the decision on this mammoth project has been parked while we wait, this time for the government to decide the way forward. Simon Jack, BBC News.
Well, the Hinkley Point nuclear plant was due to start generating power in 2025. So with the project on pause for now, what are the government's other options for making sure the lights stay on in the future? Our science editor David Shupman is here, and David, it's a pretty complicated picture, isn't it?
You're right, it is very complicated, and the context for this long-running saga is that over the past decade, one government after another has tried to balance three very different aims. Keeping the lights on as older power stations are phased out, keeping energy bills as low as possible for consumers, and cutting our carbon emissions to help tackle climate change. So Hinkley, which would produce 7% of UK needs with carbon-free power, meets two of those objectives, but it is expensive. Even so, supporters say it's essential.
When you look at a nuclear plant, the upfront capital cost to build the power station is very high. But you've got to look at the through-life costs and how long these power stations are generating for. So Hinkley Point will be generating for probably 50 years plus. And for all of that time, it's going to be giving secure electricity, reliable electricity, and clean electricity continuously.
The two reactors planned for Hinkley were picked because they were the most modern design with the largest power output.
The operating concept is the same as for a pressurized water reactor.
But projects to build these EPR reactors have struggled. I saw one in Finland, which is running 9 years late, and there isn't yet one working anywhere. So what about alternatives? Renewable energy produced 25% of UK power in the first 3 months of this year. It's carbon-free and costs are falling, but wind and solar are intermittent, which really matters in a long, cold winter. Gas is another option. It provided 37% of our power earlier this year. It's the cleanest fossil fuel, but either we import it, which creates uncertainty, or get it by fracking. And we've seen the opposition to that. So a serious homegrown supply could be years away. The third option is to be more efficient. Modern appliances use less power than older ones. So demand fell 6% over the past 3 years, nearly as much as Hinkley would generate. So critics say nuclear power is a costly mistake.
If you look at the cost of Hinkley to the consumer, astronomical. I mean, they're now talking about the consumers paying £30 billion above the wholesale price of electricity during its lifetime. Huge sum of money. And then you've got to deal with the nuclear waste. You've got to store this waste for hundreds of thousands of years. It's very radioactive. They don't yet know what they're going to do with that waste.
Ultimately, there are no easy options. No single source of power meets all of those objectives of being reliable, cheap, and carbon-free. Big decisions about energy are always hard. This one is tougher than most. Fiona.
Thanks, David.